kind of the way it was, and she didn't want to pick you up, and she gave a reason why not. She says, I don't want to scare her. Says, a big person go over and pick up a little person like that, says it'll scare her. Says, I don't want to do that. Let her come to me. And so you kind of went over to her and come up to her a little bit. So then she made up to you one day. But that always stuck with me. You know, people says, here, hold on to the baby, you know, and you don't scare the baby, you know.
Okay.
And that's basically what she did not want to do. She wanted to not scare you, is what she did, one thing or the other. But I'll never forget that. My grandmother said, no, I'm not going to pick her up yet.
So that was Grandma Bill?
Yes.
That was your dad's mom.
Huh?
That was your dad's mom? The one that lives on the farm?
Yeah,
No, you're Ruth's mom.
That's Ruth's mom.
Ruth's
You're right.
mom.
It's my mother's mother.
Your mother's mother. Okay. I don't remember meeting her at all. I remember your mom a little bit.
You were just a little toddler. You probably didn't know that.
Yeah.
But no, you probably didn't. You probably don't remember that. The thing that you did one time is, I don't think I ever told you this story either, is that when we adopted you when you were 2 weeks old, okay? And so we basically picked you up and took you the ballon off, and he looked you, and he kind of was critical a little about it. I mean, they give you this baby, and you don't know how to handle this baby, one thing or other. So anyway, so we went later on when we had to finalize the adoption. So we had to go down to the juvenile building down here in Kansas City, and we had a judge, we had our attorney, and then you had an attorney assigned to you. And so we were going to make the court was going to make their final decision of whether we could adopt you or not. And so you were sitting on my lap, one thing or the other. I don't remember. You had a toy or something, and you were sitting in my lap, and you were just beating it on the table, and you were just having a good time. You were smiling and one thing and having one this time, and of course, the judge is asking, is there any problems? No, we went through all that stuff, and so he went ahead and but you were putting on a show. You were just having a good time. You were hitting the table, one thing or another, and just sitting there, and we were answering the questions, what he wanted to know, one thing or another. So at that point, that's when he said, well, they will okay the adoption at that point. So that's how it turned out. But you were putting on a show. I mean, you were. Of course, I think they were kind of wanting to make a judge whether you had made everything was fine,
How long after how old was I?
I want to say, I would want to say 6 months or a year. I don't remember when it was. Mom maybe remembers. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I know that we did not have the final adoption done until we went down there that time.
Yeah.
And I think it was sometime after that, but...
Is that because, what would have happened to me if they said no?
I don't know. But anyway, the judge went ahead and okayed the adoption, and so that's when we basically had legally had adopted you. I mean, even though we've been raising you and taking care of you for a while, it was you weren't ours until after that. After that was done, and then after that, why it was done. The adoption was finalized at that point.
I still don't. I still have a hard time comprehending how, in the 80s especially, you found out like on a Friday, and then you had to go get me on a Monday. I think it's what Mom said.
I don't know.
But you couldn't have had any of the baby stuff. You couldn't have had a crib because you'd been waiting 6 years.
You know, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, it happened fairly quick, you know, because Belenov was a little critical of the whole deal. See, I'd used Belenov and what was the other doctor? I know Zach.
Dr. Zach.
Yeah, Zach. But Zach came later. And there was Belenov, but there was another doctor that I used when Johnny got sick.
Yeah.
Johnny came down with Croup.
Oh.
And my ex-wife, who we had a little problem there. Well, she was a problem all the way. We were getting ready to go out for New Year's Eve, and he was coming down with Croup, and she was all set. She wanted to go out. I said, no, we're not going to go. Oh, she gets mad. Says, well, we've got a babysitter coming in there. And I says, we're not leaving that boy. Says, well, the babysitter can call us if there's anything going on. I says, no. I said, we're not going to put this on a babysitter. The babysitter taking it over. I said, this is a serious problem. And so she got huffing, puffy, and mad one thing or the other. And so she called the babysitter and says, well, we're not going to be able to go, one thing or another, blah, blah, blah. And she got uptight about the whole deal. And I said, okay, you call the doctor. And we had a doctor there in Raytown, and she couldn't get him. We got the answering service, and he basically gave us a referral to a Belenov. And so I think we called Belenov, and Belenov said, take him to a research hospital right away. So we did. And of course, this time he's progressively getting worse. And so we met one of them, but I can't remember. I don't think it was Belenov there. It was one of his associates came in and saw him. And immediately put him in an oxygen tent, a croupetic tent. Put in a baby bed with a canvas, a kind of a plastic cover over it, and
he was little.
Put oxygen on there, huh?
He was little.
Oh yeah,
Was he 4 months or a year and 4 months?
He wasn't very old. He was up moving around.
Okay, so maybe he was a year and 4 months.
Yeah, it could be a year or something. I don't remember when it was. He could have been just like 5 months or something like that. But see, the cough was.
Yeah, it's supposed to be awful.
If you ever hear a child with croup, you'll never forget it.
Yeah. Our friend said it sounded like a baby seal having issues.
Yeah, but you know, the one thing or the other. And then my ex-wife finally came to the reality that he was really, really sick. When they put him in a tent, when they started putting oxygen on him, one thing he liked, one little toy he liked a Porky Pig. He had a Porky Pig, you pull the string and he says, you know, and he'd do all these little deals. And so Porky didn't make it through the Croup attempt. Croupy lost his boy. I mean, Porky lost his voice.
Oh.
So that's the way it was. But he was, at that time, I don't think she really realized how sick he was like I did. I mean, because I just put my foot down. I said, we're not going anywhere. I said, we're going to take care of that kid, that child. And so she, like I say, she got mad. I don't think she come to the realize just how critical it was at that time. And croup is a bronchial infection, is what you've got. And so, like I say, that's how we went from our regular GP doctor to a specialist and Balanoff. And there was another, I know Zach, it was one of them, but I think Zach came in later. I don't know, there was 3 doctors that was in this group. And we had one of them come in at before midnight, look at him, examine him and see what was going on. And I think Susan stayed at the hospital that night. Because I went ahead and went home late that night. I think it was after midnight when I left the hospital. And they brought a bed in and she's been in there with him. Well, the neatest thing that happened, I went over the next day and so they were going to take him down X-ray his lungs, see what was going on, and so an orderly came up to pick him up. He came up with a little red wagon, and he put a pillow in the back so he could sit up, and pulled him down the hallway. And I thought, you know, that's the neatest thing, because you know, you don't want to scare the kid, you know, because he's small. So they put him in a little red wagon and pulled him down the hallway and put him on the elevator and took him down X-ray that way. But I thought damn it, that's neat to do that, because of course, any child would want to get in a little red wagon and have somebody, big guy, pulling you down the hallway. So
yeah, I remember they wanted me when I got stung by that wasp, you know, a bunch of times. They asked me at the hospital if I wanted to sit in a wheelchair, and I thought I had to make a choice if I was going to be wheelchair bound forever. And so I said no. So I walked through the hospital because I didn't want to be in a wheelchair forever. I probably would have sat in a wagon.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying is that, you know, you get smart about it. One thing to transport a small child, you know,
Did I want to do things on my own, or did I want you guys to do things for me, like getting dressed or eating? Things like that.
I don't know.
What, you don't know?
Mom probably does.
No, she didn't know either. She wasn't sure.
No, but I think the other doctor I'm trying to think is Sidon, but I think he was the tonsil doctor that we used with the boys. I gotta go catch that from the other. See what
landline.